Okay. Okay, that was weird. I know why my light changed, just because I touched my camera. Very interesting. Why is my barrette sliding out? My hairette is defying gravity. Hello and welcome to the news that didn't make the news. Lisa, hi, how are you? How are you? How are you? If I was a better editor, I know how to do a couple of basic things, but nothing major. If I was better, I would sit here and just let the camera roll by until the people that are always here show up. But I'm not a good enough editor to be able to cut all that dead space out from the beginning. That's why I always find something else to kind of fill in with. I know that I haven't made a video, and I want to say it's been about 4 weeks since I made a video. I did make a mention on Facebook today that I was going to be doing a video tonight at 7 o'clock to give you guys a chance to know that I was going to be on here without relying on YouTube to actually send out a notification. So tonight, I want to talk about New Earth versus the physical Earth plane that we now exist on. The whys, the wheres, the hows of New Earth, so to speak. So that's where we're going with this evening. I'm still choosing to do this on my computer, even though when I do it on my computer, it doesn't seem to notify anyone. I'm more comfortable doing it this way. And then also the people that missed it don't have to wait 24 hours for it to process. So there you go. That's my reasoning. So I want to talk about New Earth. It's a concept that some of us have heard about for a very long time. Some of us just months or maybe a couple years. But it's really important to understand what this truly means, because I myself have spoken to probably close to 100 people in the last several years that believe, and there's nothing wrong with anything you believe, because we believe different things along the way depending on where we are in our process. So there's nothing wrong with that. But when it comes down to it, it is not a separate Earth that we are waiting for. And if anything, I would say that it's more of a separate self than it is a separate Earth. So let's start with that. I do want to say thank you to all the people, the several hundred people that reached out to me and wished me a happy birthday. So thank you for that. It was a mixed bag birthday. It was a happy as it could be birthday. Luckily for me, my mom did not die on my exact birthday. She chose to leave 3 days before my birthday, which did make it easier on me. And I know some people, there is always a motorcycle in every video. I could literally wait 2 months to make a video and there would still be the loud motorcycle. It's just something we cannot escape, I suppose. So many people have spoken to me and thought that I would just be in absolute shambles. I am in a bit of a shock because she was already, my mother was already stage 4 Parkinson's disease, but then the last week of August, she got diagnosed with something terminal, and the doctors gave her 4 to 6 months. Um, I knew she wasn't going to make it that far, but how fast she went was a kind of shocking surprise. I had, I was actually doing my niece's wedding. I think I mentioned that in the last video I made. I was doing the flowers, as I've been a florist for most of my working life. I was doing the flowers, and my mom was very excited about that wedding, and she made it to that wedding on Saturday and ate everything that wasn't nailed down. She got a hug from every child and every grandchild um, that she had. And then the next day she stopped eating. Um, and it went pretty quickly after that. I guess the thing that is very comforting to me, if there is something comforting in all of this, is that I feel I was so much more incredibly lucky than a lot of people are. Not everyone has a mother. Not everyone has an amazing mother that they get along with. Not everybody has had a mother that has been their best friend for 54 years of their life. So there were so many things that I was so incredibly grateful for that it's really hard for me to be sad about losing my mother. And of course, there is sadness um, about losing my mother, but because she was my best friend and my astrologist and my numerologist and my psychologist and everything else, um, I feel truly lucky and I feel truly blessed that I had such an incredible mother for 54 years. I know people lose people very suddenly all the time, and that must seem very torturous. So the day after the wedding, I was there. I was at her house for about 8 hours, and I got to say everything that I wanted to say to her. And even though I've said these things to her many times, I felt like it was very important for me to tell her how much I loved her, to tell her how um, astronomically amazing she was as a mother, and how I so appreciated having 54 years of loving kindness and relationship with her. Um, I told her all of those things. I hugged her after 8 hours and I said, I will be back tomorrow, Mom. And she said, okay, I'll see you tomorrow. I love you. And she was non-responsive. Um, she was then non-responsive on Monday or Tuesday, and she died on Wednesday. So yes, it is sad. But at the same time, again, I feel just so incredibly lucky. But I did want to say thank you to the over 500 people who sent their prayers, their love, their sympathy, their condolences, and all of those things. It was very touching to me. And the main reason, really, that I even posted about her being gone, because some of my family felt it was inappropriate, is because I'd been totally absent from speaking to almost anyone, and I had no social media presence for the last 4 weeks. And it was starting to get to the point where people were getting concerned about me. So that's the reason why I posted about her death, just to let you all know that I was okay. All right, there are two of you here, so let us commence here. New Earth and the Earth where we now reside in our physicality. That's what we're going to be talking about today. New Earth, or physical Earth, is you in a physical form, in a physical presence. It is your routines, it is your surroundings, it is your thoughts, and it is the choices that you make every day in physical reality, right? Because we can have thoughts about something but not act on those things. We can fantasize or have desire about doing something, but not doing it. So your physical reality is the physical you in a physical body, with your physical choices, your physical surroundings, and your physical current creations. New Earth is something different, but not completely separate, and it is not something that we are waiting for. It is not like having a layover in Dallas before you get your flight to LA. Okay, it is not a separate plane, so to speak, whether that be an airplane or the physical versus the spiritual plane. And this is really important because of the almost 100 people that I've talked to are like telling me I'll do what I really want, or I'll go after what I really want when I have financial freedom, when it's no longer hard to make decisions, and to just be, it's hard to be our authentic self and make choices in every moment of the day that don't have some fear in them, right? So there you are. When you are born into a physical body as a baby, yourself has a split, right? And yourself has a split because you're a soul and you live here lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. Some of you are aware of this and have memories of those other lifetimes. When you choose, because you do choose as a consciousness to come into physical form, when you come into physical form, when you are birthed, when you come in as a baby, the soul essence or the spiritual part separates from your physical part. So we may not all jive with or get along with the idea or the notion of having a guardian angel, but I can assure you that all of you have a guardian angel, and that is you, because the spiritual you or the soul you, so the essence of you, right? You are always an essence that never goes away, whether or not you choose to incarnate into a physical body, and when you leave, you are still that soul, you are still that spirit, and you are still that essence. So when you are born, your consciousness, your soul, your spirit decides that you want to be born into this earth plane or whatever other plane of existence you have chosen. And that higher aspect of self, the one that has chosen it, then goes into a different plane, higher dimensionally, which is what we can look at as New Earth. So you have a guardian angel, and that guardian angel is your soul, is the higher essence of you. And the whole point in its entirety of the ascension process is to do the opposite of what you did when you were born. So when you were born, your spirit, your soul, the essence of you chose to come down and inhabit once again a physical body. And that soul essence of you, that spirit of you, is your guardian angel in the higher realms. And there is no difference between that and that of the energy of New Earth. So that higher aspect of you, that highest aspect of you, is always there, guiding you, protecting you, giving you connections to information, cheering you on, and giving you even glimpses into other parts of life, or the parts of life you may decide to choose. And I don't want to make this complicated, because to me, it is very brilliantly easy to comprehend. The 3D physical earth is you in a physical body, your choices, your decisions, and how you are currently living and choosing in this physical reality as a physical being. Okay, so what you're currently doing, how you're currently living, how you're currently creating and manifesting is in the physical, is you on 3D earth, on that linear plane of 3D existence, you in a body, your creations and your choices, your living situations, your surroundings, how you're choosing to live. New Earth, how New Earth is different. And again, it's not, it's not us getting on a plane in Dallas and flying out to LA or flying to Hawaii, getting a separate plane. It is not a separate plane. It is a separate plane, but it's not a separate plane. So 3D Earth is your physical choices, your physical surroundings, how you're currently living. New Earth is the highest version of you. So the highest version of you would be the manifestation of desires and creations that you have invited, and let go of any fear so that you can 100% be living the way you were before you chose to be birthed to your mother on this planet. New Earth is the highest version of you manifested. Okay. So our higher selves, our soul essence, the essence of who we are, lives in higher Earth and is there all the time. Now, your highest timeline, because people talk about the highest timeline for Earth and for humanity itself and for us as an individual. And what does that mean? Your highest timeline. That means if you followed all those crazy notions, if you had absolutely no fear about how it would turn out or what the outcome would be, you living and choosing authentically what would make you most happy, what would make you most passionate, what would make you most joyous. So your highest timeline, the essence of you, the soul of you in your highest timeline, is you living in complete authenticity, choosing yourself in every moment what you want with zero fear. That's the only difference. So your higher self, unlike our physical self says, well, if I quit that job, I might not have money. And the higher self knows better than that. The higher self says, well, I'm guarding myself and guiding myself and intuiting myself to follow my dreams and my passions and desires and make those movements in the 3D earth plane so I can manifest everything that it is that is so joyous and happy. Well, hello, Susan Ferguson. How are you doing? Long time no speak. I haven't spoken to any of you, so unless you've seen the Facebook post that I made, my mother has decided to go back to New Earth as of October 23rd, and that's how I started this video. Your higher self is the same you. There's no difference in you, okay? But this is the thing that is, yes, let's talk soon. I agree. Your higher self is the version of you that has zero fear, okay? So in physical reality, we think about making decisions. We think about the consequences that makes on our life, our friend circle, our family circle, our bank account, all of those things, right? So the higher self part of you is limitless. The higher self part of you is powerful, is fearless. It's the God self. It's the infinite creator self. And that higher self, that higher version of you that lives on the other plane, the multidimensional plane, lives there and is coaxing you to and guiding you and dropping wisdom to you so that you can live without apprehension, without fear, without indecision, without self-doubt. That's a tongue twister. Okay. So the whole point is once you've chosen, your soul essence, your spiritual essence has chose to be birthed onto this plane, the body comes here in the physical, and the spiritual self, the soul self, the essence of you, hangs out in another multidimensional plane that is New Earth. So it is not something that we are saying, okay, when we hit 51%, this new planet's going to come and there's not going to be pollution and there's not going to be animosity and there's not going to be fear and there's not going to be war and there's not going to be all those things. believe you me when I say that you and I together will undo what we have done. We will rewrite laws and we will change things, because it's not about us escaping a reality that we ourselves have created and the world on the stage of the world has created that we don't like. It's about making those changes here. So, New Earth, while it is a plane, is actually more of you being in connection to and allowing and inviting yourself to be completely guided without fear, without limitation, and without self doubt. And without those things, your higher self knows that you will soar, right? That you, when you are limitless, you soar, and you're soaring. Your ability to fly while still being in a physical body, without fear, without judgment, without apprehension, your God self, your infinite creator self, is the highest version of you. So it's not something, New Earth is not something that will happen later. We are not waiting for anything, okay? Because what is external to you in 3D reality, whether that be your friends, your spouses, your neighbors, the government, um, the cabal, whatever is external to you will have you waiting on something in your physical reality or the physical reality of Earth for you to change your circumstances. So without that fear, without that apprehension or that guilt, or that indecision, we soar, we fly. It's a true connection to higher self. It's a true connection to our own guardian spirit that split from us when we decided to be birthed into this physical earthly plane. So I see both ends of the spectrum. And I'm somewhat of a liaison or go-between between these planes that are both physical and non-physical, and I have been ever since the time that I was born. I have memories that go back of being a liaison. So initially, it may have been way more confusing for me, than some of you, because I really wasn't sure why I was here or why I would have chosen something that is so starkly different, from whence I originally came. And I knew that before the time I could talk, and I was uncomfortable in my own skin, um, for many decades. So the ascension process is us then remerging or reacquainting or reuniting with the true soul, the true essence, and the true authenticity, brilliant illumination of who we are at a soul level, at an essence level, without fear, without apprehension, and without self doubt. That is the highest version of you. And whatever that means to you is the highest timeline for you as an individual. Because external reality, the government, the cabal, people that are purposely channeling or entities that are purposely channeling to mislead you, will have you waiting for disclosure. They will have you waiting for an RV to move to the place you've always wanted to live. They'll have you waiting for the currency reevaluation to leave behind family that doesn't believe in you, that doesn't support you. It will have you waiting for this external exchange of funds to be able to divorce or separate from someone that you've been with for a long time. But your higher self has been guiding you and telling you and coaxing you and cheering you on to make decisions that are not based on apprehension, and to make decisions that are not based on fear, but on the highest fulfillment of whatever would make you happy. So that's going to be different to every individual. So while you 3D world, the cabal, the government, people who allow allow themselves to be channeled through to give you information that we're waiting for disclosure, we're waiting for the reevaluation of currency, we're waiting for the government to change, we're waiting for a new president to save us, or anything from anything in external reality. The third dimension will always have us waiting. So you see, most importantly, that this is about a seesaw of energy between you being in a physical body. Because, like my mom, if you decided to leave, everything is joyful and peaceful and calm and harmonious on the other side. I know that all of you have probably heard or read about near death experiences, and it's such a great, loving energy that people don't really want to come back when they've had that near death experience. And why? Because it is living on the other side. You still know who you are. You know that you're on the other side, right? But finally, you feel free of apprehension. And finally, you feel free of self doubt. And finally, you feel free of indecision. And finally, you know what it feels like to be your God self, to be the infinite creator self. And it feels amazing. And so, people that experience that near death thing don't want to come back down to physical reality, even though hundreds of thousands of times they do choose to come back here, because otherwise we wouldn't have the stories of what that is like. Okay, so 3D physical reality will have you waiting on something external to you to live without fear and live without indecision and live without apprehension. Okay, so your job, our job, everyone's job, the whole point of ascension is to acclimate back into spiritual self, soul self, essence of truth self, authenticity of true self, without fear, without apprehension, without self doubt. Now, we don't just wake up one morning and realize that that is the goal and therefore we jump into it. We're still going to have those moments of tears. We're still going to have moments of fear. We're still going to have moments of apprehension. We're still going to have moments of self doubt, right? Because as you start integrating soul and higher self and maneuvering around and course correcting your life in the physical earth plane, you bet your ass that all kinds of people, right? Your coworkers, your families, your spouses, your neighbors, everybody's going to have something to say about this. Everybody's going to have an input. Oh, wow. Tina's really changed. Dawn has really changed. Lisa's really changed. What is happening? You're authentically becoming true to the connection of higher self. We're always guided. We always have that wisdom. We always have that guidance, and we always have that protection. But some of these last final stages, and probably the hardest thing to do, is to just go out and authentically be Lisa, or go out and authentically be Tina, to be fearless, to be limitless, to be full of strength. Okay. And we start doing this little by little. As I said, we don't just overnight shed the fear and apprehension because we know that's what we're supposed to do. We only experience it that way if our choice is to leave the physical body and go to the other plane, where there are no longer any decisions to make. There is no longer any self-doubt or any more apprehension. Okay. So when you little by little start living this way without fear, when you start living without fear, when you start living without self-doubt, when you start living without apprehension, when you stop needing to justify your choices, your decisions, or whatever those may be in physical reality, quit your job or get divorced or take all your money out of the bank and put it into paintings or gold coins, whatever it is, when you start really taking the advice and maneuvering in the earth plane by those parts of you that reside in the higher plane, people are going to have a problem with that. Okay. They'll have a problem with that for multiple reasons. One, it'll be hard to connect to you if they've been able to connect to you solely like physical things like gossip or the latest makeup trends, what's going on in the stock market, whatever physical things they used to talk to you about, you're going to lose interest in that. And they're going to think you're losing interest in them when you're just losing interest in the fact that they are more physically based than they are guidance based or spiritually based. That means that person starts slipping away from your life. Okay, so that's one problem that they'll have with it. But people overall become uncomfortable by someone who is self-assured, guidanced, and has enough wisdom to move around with their soul's whims and desires on a whim. That makes people very, very uncomfortable. Okay. So, and then you will have people that will just look at you with admiration, like, wow, I can't believe that Tina could do that, that she could just quit her job, that she could just do whatever, that she just thinks that everything is going to be okay. Right. So there are other people that will look at you and say, wow, I wish I could do what Susan just did, or I wish I could do, what Lisa just did, or what Tina just did, because they know that they're supposed to be using that higher guidance to maneuver themselves through the earthly plane, but are looking at you and saying, wow, she's really in the strength of doing that right now. She's not waiting for the RV. She's not waiting for those divorce papers. She's not waiting for a spaceship to show up in her backyard to believe disclosure is real. She's moving around in the body, in the physical body, choosing health and choosing prosperity and choosing abundance and choosing movement and choosing true desires. And that is going to make people very, very uncomfortable. And some people just admire the strength that you have to maneuver around on that higher guidance and start paying less and less attention to the fear, the apprehension, the self-doubt, and the worry about the outcome, right? And then, there will be another group of people that will just think you've gone off your rocker, and that you're crazy. That group is a lot of fun as well. Okay, so next thing is, it's not one or the other. It's not the 3D earth plane or new earth. It is not my highest desires, my highest wishes, my highest manifestations, or my physical body. It is all of those things combined into one essence, which resides down the center of you. That's why we meditate, so we can get centered, so we understand where we want to go or what we want to do. Okay, so now things can get confusing. Okay, and every single person, almost out of the hundreds of you that I did readings for, I am actually back open for readings if anyone's interested in that. I took a hiatus. That's also available. Out of the hundreds of people that I did reading for, the confusion was them seeing the parallel earth or parallel reality, or not only highest version of self, but also highest versions of other people, and not understanding what the timeline is or was in those situations. That was the biggest conundrum in every reading I've ever had. No one's ever fallen off their chair and say, wow, Tina, that was so revelatory that I can't even believe those words came out your mouth. It's a confirmation. If you have a good tarot reader, that good tarot reader should be confirming your guidance from higher self has already told me to quit this job, right? Susan went through that for a very long time. So my guidance was just giving her or pushing her or cheering her on to do what higher self had already asked her to do. So when you have a tarot reader of these other mystics or psychics, what that person is picking up on is the highest version of you. The amount of people that say, oh, but I had a reading with someone, years ago, and those things never came true. Okay. But a psychic It depends, okay, because a psychic is going to be intuiting or picking up on or riding the frequency wave of their own frequency wave, okay? So a psychic may, if they're super tuned in to physical reality, they may like a psychic may tell you to be careful when you're in the car because they see you with a flat tire or having a car wreck or something. So it's not to say that one psychic has more truth or is more truthful, or one's a waste of money and one's not, because that's going to depend um, where you are riding on the frequency wave. That's why I always tell people, like, if you watched people who do tarot on YouTube, and there, for example, there's a tarot reader say, oh, your ex is going to get the karma he deserves, that effing person, he's just such a player, blah blah blah. Well, those words don't resonate with my plane of dating existence, so I would not watch that person. Now, it doesn't mean that person is a bad reader, right? It just means that person is not reading for the frequency wave. I love it when I see these readings and I see people commenting, oh, my ex is just a narcissistic whatever, and this would never be true. Right. And so that's how you know you're not watching the right reader. So you do want to watch how other people do things, how they blog, how they write, how they present themselves, and what plane of existence they're tuning in and out of before you choose to have a reading. A good reader is not going to tell you something that's going to have you, blown off your chair and laying on the floor over here. Okay. A good reader is going to say, wow, I had a feeling for a year or 6 months, or I got a message yesterday that said I really should totally shift my career or shift my relationship dynamic or something like that. Okay. So doesn't mean one psychic or one card reader is not good at their job, but we're all picking up on different frequencies. Someone who's more tuned into physical reality as opposed to the highest version of you may be telling you to be careful when you get in the car. They may be telling you that your husband is cheating on you, or things like that. Things like that never come up in the reading, because when I connect in, I'm connecting into the highest version of you, which just goes back to what I said earlier. The highest version of you, Susan or Lisa, or for myself, would be the version of me, because we all know what we want. We don't have the problem dipping in and out of fantasy land, right? And saying, okay, this is what I want to experience physically. I want to surf. I want to get married. Right? We don't have a problem fantasizing about what it is we truly want or where it is we're truly going. Our problem lies in the decision making, the leaving fear out of it, the leaving apprehension out of it, and all of those things, right? So when I connect to your higher self, like in a reading or when I'm doing something for you, I'm connecting to the version of you that's telling you what the outcome is going to be if you let go of fear, apprehension, self doubt, and all those 3D physical things. Many people have told me that through readings, what I have said have come true. Um, and then I have had an occasional person say, you said this, and, 2 other readers told me the same thing you do, but I'm yet to experience it. And that is because, and I'm not chastising anyone, but the higher self is always there, as I said, as your guardian angel. Um, Always guiding, always protecting, always giving wisdom, and always cheering you on. But you are the one that has to make the decision without fear, without guilt, without apprehension, and without attachment to what the outcome is going to be. Okay. So now, also in that confusion of saying, like, seeing other people in relationships, or seeing yourself getting the job you always wanted, or anything along those lines. The thing is, for you, once you've tapped in and connected to and started to, none of us are fully integrated with this, right? I would be making a video from my cabana on the beach somewhere, drinking fruity, drinks with a chef, and a pool boy. So we're not there yet. But as we start to integrate with our higher self, with our soul, with our essence of who we truly are, the authentic, fearless, limitless, godless, our fearless, limitless God self, unlimited potential of creation. Once we connect to that for self, we start seeing that in people we are close to. Okay. You might run into someone in the grocery store and start picking up the highest version of them also. But in reality, what happens first is you connect to the limitless God creator self in you. And when you are intimately close with someone, it doesn't have to be physically intimate. Most of you I've never even met. When you become intimately close to someone in physical reality, even without physical contact, we can start seeing the highest version of that other self. We start to see and we start to feel the higher versions of other people. Not only do we see it, not only do we feel it, not only are we able to connect with someone at a soul essence, you'll say, wow, that man, that person is really spectacular. They are verbally so communicative. They are such a passionate writer, such a way shower, such a seer, right? You are connecting to the highest version of that other person's self when they do, even if, and here's the catch to this, they have not chosen it yet. So when they are seeing and feeling their connection to higher self and the things that would make them, dream come true, so to speak, right? You will start seeing and feeling and even communicating with the higher self of that person. Now, that can be really confusing if the person in physical reality knows that they have started to integrate higher self, but has not yet chosen the things that you are seeing and feeling and even communicating in a higher realm with that other person. I really hope that makes sense. Yada chatta atcha. Hello, Christina. How are you? Hello, and welcome to all the news that didn't make the news. I promised myself I was not going to be David Wilcockian and make a 4-hour video, but it's looking like it's going to happen. I'm kidding. I won't go that long, but I did think that I could. Interesting, a sign just came up on my computer with a bunch of exclamation marks that says road closed. So I suppose we're supposed to know when a road is closed or when a door is open, or when we've come to the end of the road with something. I don't see people getting very confused when it comes to adjusting to and acclimating to the directions or the maneuvers or the wisdom of a higher self, integrating that down into the physical and maneuvering yourself in the physical earth plane with that knowledge, with that information. But I do see a lot of confusion when we start to expand from that and start connecting to other people's higher selves. That can be confusing because, again, we can see it. We may feel what they want. We may feel how it would be for them to be a famous writer or whatever the highest version of themselves is. And we can feel very celebratory in that person's highest version of self. And like I said, we can see it. We can start to feel it. We can even communicate with them heart to heart in that higher self. However, and here's the however, just because we can see and feel the highest version of other people does not mean that that other person will right now choose the highest version of self. Now, I'm not talking about this scenario where so many people are caught up in in social media where you're talking about a narcissist and an empath, and how the empath is a magnet to the narcissist, because narcissists essentially do what they do, long story short, because they cannot feel. They have lost the ability to feel, and by hurting someone else, it allows them to feel. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about two people that are on the same frequency, wave frequency. One person is using what they feel from higher self to maneuver around the 3D plane. The other person is already on that same Weaver frequency, so you can leave the narcissist or the abusive person out of that equation, because that's not going to be that person. Okay, let's not be empathetic with that particular scenario, because that's not what I'm talking about. You are here. You've started integrating higher self, the essence of truly who you are as a God creator. That person is also connected to that too. And you have perhaps started making adjustments or course corrections. That person already has direction from higher self. They already have every synchronicity in the book, but they have not chosen to start course correcting. You can feel and see and hear their course correction before they take it, before they get like Mariah Carey and make it happen. You're already tuned into that soul essence of self that's guiding you, and you start tuning in to the highest version of perhaps your parents or your partner, or your long lost love from the Titanic, whatever it may be for you. But just because we can see and feel it, and you knew there was a but coming, right? The highest version of other people, does not mean in the moment that they are acting on the guidance from their own soul or the highest version of themselves. Okay? And all that means is that person that you're seeing the highest version of, they are not yet comfortable letting go of the fear that is involved when you have a handful, I shouldn't say a handful, you have this person that has the guidance that hasn't taken action yet, and they're looking directly at you, knowing you have the guidance and knowing that you're acting on it. And again, that's where sometimes people can be very much in the energy of admiration, um, for your strength, right? For your strength to just be like, oh, that's what I want to do, and that's what I'm going to do it. And people around you may just be like, wow, can't believe she just quit her job, or, wow, I can't believe she just, upped and moved to, Portugal. I'll throw that out there because that's where I would love to be right now. Okay. I know we do have to consider logistics. Okay. But in meditation this morning, I was thinking to myself, is there anything in this very, very moment that I want to do, or that I want to say to someone? Is there something I'm really being urged to do or to say? And the only thing I could come up with was to fire off a message to someone that's very near and dear to my heart. That's the only thing that came up for me. Right now, I'm in the process of taking that full guidance, that essence of self, that complete authenticity, and maneuvering my earth plane to make it match with that of which resides in the higher planes of multidimensionality that my soul truly desires and wants to match with. So the thing that if I was going to do or say anything, or if I was going to move to the jungle in some remote location that didn't have Wi-Fi or cell service, I might fire off a message to that one person. But you know what? I've already done that. All right. So there really wasn't anything that I could think of that I would want to do or want to say right now that I'm not already connected with and that I'm not already doing. And just remember, we of course want to be really careful, and we want to be in observation mode, not judgment mode. Okay, just because I'm maneuvering through the physical plane with the guidance of higher self, and I am not, no, none of us are there. We're not perfect. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying in my meditation today, I couldn't think of one thing that I want to do or I want to say that I wasn't doing, that I wasn't saying, besides not being here for 4 weeks for obvious reasons that I mentioned earlier. So please, please, please don't take it personal when you can see and feel and hear and communicate with the highest version of someone and they haven't made that choice yet. Because again, that just means that they're not completely comfortable letting go of the fear and the apprehension and really sitting in the seat of the strength to take. I'm all choked up. That person that has the same information as you, that is slower to course correct, or later than you to course correct, is just not comfortable letting go of the fear. They're just not comfortable. Even though you can connect, you can see, you can feel, and you can hear the highest version of someone else, just don't take it personal or think it has to do anything with you, because we all have to learn when we start integrating higher self, and we're not there, but we have been integrating higher self and the soul. And the soul will just have you saying, you know what, I'm going to eat pickles and ice cream for breakfast. So that's just what I'm going to do. And the physical self doesn't step in and talk about calories or bad diet or fasting. Okay. It just does what it wants to do. And we all just do what we want to do. And we all just course correct in our own time frame. Okay. And so, hello, Nikki. How are you? So don't take it personal, okay? And again, that person is on the same wavelength as you. They know what they're supposed to do. They are also connecting to and integrating the higher self knowledge to make those course corrections and changes, but they're still having some fear of what it will mean to let go of certain things, what it will mean to their bank account or their surroundings or their family or their physical reality. So there is no separation other than your own fear, apprehension, and self-doubt between you and New Earth. It is not a plane. It is not a connector flight. There is not a spaceship that's taken you there. It is right here, right now. It is superimposed or juxtaposition, one Earth over another Earth. And you living and breathing and coexisting simultaneously in New Earth is what it means to be multidimensional. When you start using your soul essence, the authenticity of who you are at an essence to maneuver through physical reality, that's you existing in the New Earth plane. It's not somewhere else you're going when a certain amount of us decide we're going to get it together and course correct, right? We don't wait for an RV. We don't wait for a spaceship. We don't wait for a relative to leave us an inheritance to do the things we want to do. We start making the practical planning with the advice and guidance of who you are as an authentic soul that came in here, that dropped in here to learn while in a physical body. This is the whole point of ascension. You come in, you're birthed. Your soul, your essence, your spirit resides as your guardian angel right over you, existing in a different plane, constantly cheering you on, guiding you, and dropping you wisdom so that you can learn in this ascension process. To me, this is all ascension is. And the final integration of the ascension phase stage is not dying. It's not running off with unicorns and rainbows to the center earth, where you can live happily ever after, without any adversity. It's not that. It's you using your own soul's guidance and you coming back to the essence of you that split when you came in here, right? So if you yourself are present in the 3D earth plane and new earth simultaneously, you can feel or even experience, see, hear, intuit a parallel life, not only for yourself, but for your parents, for your loved ones, people you met on the internet. Okay. If you're, our whole point of ascension, final stage of ascension, is using that higher wisdom, that guidance, that protection from the soul essence of who you are to course correct and do what brings you joy while in a physical body, not waiting around to exit. We're not waiting for Jesus to save us. We're not going waiting for to escape to heaven so we don't have adversity. We're not waiting for an RV. We're not waiting for a ship. We're not waiting for a disclosure. We're not waiting for a new president to save us. Not saying these things don't make a difference in our physical reality, but the biggest difference we make in who our president is and what the cabal gets away with, how our love life turns out, what our bank account looks like, is us using that higher guidance, that new earth plane guidance, to be simultaneously existing in all of these realms at the same time. You can maybe feel or even see or intuit or experience or have dreams about this other parallel existence for you and the people that you love, even if in 3D they are not currently choosing it. Most importantly, it is not you that family member or loved one or boss or whomever it is that you see the highest version. When you start seeing and feeling and intuiting the highest version of themselves, of that other person, before they have actually used that guidance to maneuver through 3D, if they don't choose to quit being the garbage man and pursue writing, if they don't choose to up and leave, Texas to move to Hawaii where they were always wanted to live, if they don't choose something that is the highest version of them, when you can see, feel, hear, and intuit that, it is nothing personal against you. It is not a rejection from your parents, from that loved one, from whoever, that you are able to see, feel, and hear and intuit the highest version of them. It's not a rejection of you. That's so important for you to know. That is a rejection of part of self. So what you're seeing, feeling, and intuiting or hearing about that person is how they would live their life with zero fear, with zero apprehension, right? In their limitless, powerful God creator self, you can see that. And when they don't choose a portion of that, whatever that is, their career, their love life, their geographical location, when they don't choose that, that is not a rejection, right? Like Hawaii is not insulted that this person didn't choose to go there, even though they've been drooling over pictures of Hawaii for 20 years. So be like Hawaii, okay? Don't sit there and drool over it and say, well, this person's rejecting me. They're not rejecting you. They may want, every cell in their being of existence may want to be with you, but they have to choose the integration of higher self past the point of just integration and into the point where they're course correcting and making their decisions based on the things that you all are basing your decisions on. It's so important to realize, like I said, Hawaii is not sad if someone doesn't move there, and they've been drooling over, pictures and magazines of Hawaii for 20 years. Okay. And maybe you're in a situation with a parent or a loved one where you see the highest version of their self, but they have at the moment not made the choice to choose that. Okay. It's not a rejection of you or how lovely or how brilliant you are. It is them not rejecting you. It is them rejecting a part of themselves that could be truly happy or truly fulfilled, truly heart centered, and truly joyous. Because above anything I've ever said in the now 200, you guys, that's right, 200 videos I've made, um, every one of those videos has had something in it about ascension. Okay. And the whole point of ascension is integrating with the soul self. And the whole point of that is not so I can course correct to make you happy or someone else happy, or so I can be the best version of, highest version of myself for someone else. It's so that I can live in joy, right? So when I'm talking about course correction for a job, maybe you're been doing something for 30 years and you got one year left to retirement, right? Or your pension, or whatever it is. Okay. Just for example, maybe you've got 1 year left of that. Well, maybe the first 30 years of that weren't so great. Maybe the last 10 years of that situation have been hell, and you're still waiting for this or waiting for that or waiting for the RV or waiting for your pension or waiting for whatever you're waiting for, right? We're all waiting for something, I suppose. The only thing we should be waiting for is a pizza delivery, right? Or when we order food at a restaurant, then we can wait, okay? Right now, the last stage of ascension is all about doing what you want to do, about not waiting that last year for your pension to move where you want to do, or do who you want to love, or do bop whatever you want to do bop, right? So just don't take it personal, because it can be confusing and it can be hard when you see the highest version of someone, and that person is already connected to their higher self and you are fully aware of that, but they haven't yet started um, undoing, right? Like I said before, New Earth is not separate from this Earth. We are all existing there to one degree or another, some on a lesser scale than others, but we're all existing there simultaneously. And when you'll fully be on New Earth is when you are fully making decisions on the fact that this person brings me joy, this geographical location brings me joy, this job brings me joy. When you are eliminating fear, when you are eliminating apprehension, when you are eliminating self-doubt and just doing whatever the F you want to do. That's when you're doing it. Okay. But don't take it personal. If family, friends, loved ones are not at the place where you are. I know it can be hard. The hardest part about that is, with all the DNA activations and the psychic abilities coming online and everything else, let's say that place of employment is like, oh, damn, we just hired someone and we got Tina's application after we hired, Susan. Then we got Tina's application. I wish we had it sooner. I wish we would have had Tina's application sooner. I wish, she seems like a better fit. She seems like exactly what we wanted. And we interviewed hundreds and hundreds of people and we already hired someone. So now we can't have Tina for that position. Hey, Tina, I'll hold on to your resume, right? They'll hold on to your resume until maybe that person doesn't work anymore. So what I'm saying to you in that situation is how you're going to pick up on that with all those gifts turned on is you're going to be at home looking at your phone going, wow, they're so impressed with my resume. I can't believe they haven't called. I can feel the excitement from that possible opportunity, right? So what I'm saying is a parallel reality can be bleeding in that's not actually happening. And how do we tell one from the other? Please tell me, because I would really like to know. Okay? It's not that easy. And so while that person at that job has that resume and they're holding it in their hand and thinking about how awesome Tina is, I'm over here as a psychic, as an intuitive, picking up on the excitement, like, oh, my phone's going to ring, they're going to call me, they're going to offer the job. But really, I'm just picking up on that person's generated excitement or generated love or generated joy, whatever it is you're generating in your heart. You can pick that up from other people. Okay. You may look at your phone 20 million times and think, wow, I know someone must be just like writing and deleting emails, or writing and saving emails, and writing and not sending emails. Because every time they start writing an email, I hear it and I think, wow, that person's going to happen. That thing's going to happen. This job is going to happen. It's actually going to happen because you're feeling the excitement coming from another person about the possibility of that choice, whatever that choice is. Okay. It breeds a lot of excitement. And depending on what your scenario is, I thought it would be easier to use the job scenario, but you could have met someone online. Maybe they live, on the opposite ends of the earth of you, and maybe they're sitting around, in front of their computer looking at, saying, oh, well, I live on the other side of the world, but Tina's in Ohio. Let me see what Ohio is like. Let me see what the weather's like. Let me see what the job opportunities look like. Let me look at the housing market. And because we're not completely 100% centered in our higher self psychic knowing, we're not there yet. Sorry, we're just not. We're just going to pick up on, oh, wow, maybe that person's thinking about moving here, right? Maybe that person's getting ready to call me and say, hey, there's job opportunities, where you are. I'm just saying, when someone is sitting around feeling something, feeling the joy, feeling the love, feeling the warmth, feeling the intimacy, feeling the possibility, when you pick up on that, it's a feeling. So then you have to, your intuition, your psychic ability, your clairvoyance, your clairaudience, your clairsentience, all those things are picking up on this person over here, or this prospective employer over here, and their excitement or their longing or whatever's going on. And you're picking it up, and you're not wrong. You are picking it up. The thing is, in a physical body, right? Since we're not on the other side of the veil, we then have to interpret that, right? I've had interactions with someone that what they were saying to me was so clear as day. It was as if they picked up the phone and said it to me. And I made the mistake a couple times of letting people know what I heard from their higher self. Use your own judgment when throwing that out there. And this was a couple years ago. So we're evolving at a very, very fast pace now. But when you yourself are present in a physical body, on a physical planet, also connected to that higher realm, that is new earth. It's nothing that's coming. It's you that's acclimating to your soul. And if you got nothing out of what I've said in 200 videos, the point of ascension, the point of course correction, the point of leaving the job you hate, the point of, whatever it is that you need to take a different course, course correction, take a different course. This course is not fun. The whole point of all of it, the whole point of the evolution and the mistakes and the sin or the violations or the shortcomings, all the point of you doing all those things and being in those feelings and learning all of this, the whole point and the only point for changing course is so that you can feel joy, because that is what New Earth is. It is love. It is joy. So New Earth is love and joy. And you can be just as connected and just as in touch with that here, right? It's not something that is outside of you. It's superimposed or juxtaposition or whatever term you would like to throw out there. It's always here. And it is always guiding us and cheering us on to course correct. And when we course correct individually, these little things or big things, or maybe of little things and big things to course correct, when we do that, the whole point and the only point and the last stage of ascension is the joy factor. So that's the only point for any of it. And just remember, just because someone hasn't chosen or has not chosen what would bring them the most joy in your life, these people you're close to, is not a rejection of you and your soul and how brilliant you are. It is them being afraid to be free. It is them being afraid to live in a strength which enables them to do what they want to do and what brings them joy. And there's nothing else to it. And in a sense, that person not choosing their joy, that means that that person is not choosing their own freedom. Okay? They are rejecting freedom and they are rejecting important parts of themselves. But those people that you love are never rejecting you. They're rejecting freedom. Okay? They're rejecting a part of themselves that they want. And if they're sitting around thinking about their freedom all day long and the course corrections they'd love to make all day long, you will feel that and may interpret that as something that they are currently doing or currently experiencing. The thing is, in the time spiral, it's very hard to say, oh, I think this person's doing this thing, so they must be doing it right now. What you don't know what you're seeing. You see in 2 weeks from now, you see in 2 weeks, 10 weeks from now, 2 years from now. Are you seeing when you're 80 years old? I don't know. I don't know what you're seeing. Another thing that's super important for you to know is if someone else, family, friend, lover, whomever this is, past life connections included, if that other person is feeling into the highest version of themselves and the choices they would make without the fear and hesitation and apprehension, if that person is sitting around feeling into that, oh God, it would feel so great to just move to Hawaii, or oh, it would feel so great to just quit this job and become a writer. Whatever that person is sitting around in their connection to higher self, feeling the highest version of their self, you will start again feeling the highest version of that other person's self. Okay, this is officially going to be the longest video I've ever made. Yes, so good point. And I sometimes take for granted that that it's understood that when you are course correcting, of course, that it's going to be a shift. Now, when you're talking about wanting the government to change, talking about you want disclosure to change, you want the medical system to change, or the education system to change, whatever you want to change goes faster the faster you course correct. So yes, that does mean that this indicates a shift that is astronomical. And this will be an astronomically good shift, although whenever there's chaos, there's always going to be negative things that happen as a sidebar. But your guidance, guidance pops in our head all day long. Like, oh, I should give that guy over there, $2. And then what happens is your physical self will say, well, why would I give that guy $2? He could get a job, or he's just going to spend it on drugs or alcohol, or, he's a bum for a living, right? Your higher self gave you a prompt that was give the man $2. But then your physical self, your physical reality outside of New Earth talked you out of it, gave you reasons in 3D why you shouldn't actually do that thing. All right. So individually, as we shift, as we course correct, as we take, a new course, as we change our course to things that are more positive, and you may think something's positive, I may see the same thing as negative. Okay. It doesn't matter. Whatever you feel is positive for you, what you feel where your joy is, and that new course is where, of course, you should go. Okay. When we have the balls, when we have the courage, when we have the strength to do that, to course correct without apprehension, without fear, without any of that crap, we shift so dynamically. We'll shift this planet faster than the blink of the eye. That's why there's so many shifts going on right now. Now, the only other thing is here about this too, because I'm never going to be all rainbows and unicorns, because we're experiencing both sides of it. Okay. If you want to see me on the other plane of existence after we've decided to exit stage left from the physical body, it'll all be rainbows and unicorns. But right now, we're still in a physical body. We still have that polarity. So that means that there will be negative aspects even in your life when you make these shifts, or negative things playing out on the world stage when we make this shift. But you can never make a shift without there being some chaos. Think of a shift in the world as, you're finally doing it. You're finally, like me, moving to Portugal or heading off to Hawaii, right? First, you got to make your house a chaotic mess. You got to sort through maybe the things that you want to take. And if you're going somewhere that far away, it's really expensive to ship all your crap over there. So maybe you're having to go through everything in your life, and your house at that point becomes an absolute chaotic mess, right? Because, you're sorting stuff, you're going through stuff. There's always going to be some chaos, some upheaval when we're making a giant shift. And it's always going to be positive for you and the world stage, even if there are these side effects or sidebars of chaotic things happening. Okay. And the last thing on this topic is we must, and this is the hardest part for me. Been going through this, I would say, for the last at least 6 years, very strongly. We must deal with how things are playing out in physical reality. Okay. Because I could sit around, and we'll go back to that scenario where that employer really wants to hire me, have the most amazing resume ever, but they've already hired someone, right? So am I going to sit around and wait for that person because I can feel their exuberant joy over getting my resume? Am I going to sit around and wait for that other person to quit or get fired or, move up in the company? Am I going to sit here and wait for that job opening? No, because that slows down my own course correction. Whatever that person's, situation is going to do, they're going to do. So we must deal with how things are playing out in physical reality, because if I'm not, it's me psychically feeling the excitement that and the joy that that person had with my resume in their hand, and sitting around and waiting for them, or waiting for that person to be promoted or quit to act on anything else, right? Find somewhere else. So we have to deal with the 3D earth reality. What is physically happening simultaneously while existing in both the 3D and the higher realms? We must deal with how things are playing out in physical reality. In physical reality, someone got the job. In physical reality, my resume was a day late and $1 short. Okay. We must deal with how things are playing out in physical reality. We must deal with the 3D earth reality. What is physically happening while we simultaneously exist in the higher realms, where we can feel other people's love, opportunity, perfection, and all of that. And that is the true balancing act. Now, we've all seen it. People that are only interested in what's happening physically, that are only interested in what's happening in the physical plane. We've also seen the polar opposite, because we have polar opposites in duality. That's the thing about physicality. If you only want rainbows and unicorns, you have to exit the physical body and go to another plane. Okay. So we have to accept the physical reality that someone loves my resume and is very joyful and excited about it, but they already hired someone else. Okay. Again, you can feel the feelings, the desires, the wishes of people that you're close to, but that doesn't mean we have to wait for that person's course corrections. Otherwise, we slow down our process that we ourselves is in. This, my friends, is the true balance. This is why so many people are telling you that it's a balance between two worlds, because New Earth is not something that's coming along later. It's not something that goes part and parcel with the reevaluation of currency. It doesn't go hand in hand with, alien disclosure or governmental course correction. We must course correct ourselves to the highest, most joyous version of us before these other things will connect. And again, if you only want rainbows and unicorns, you have to leave the physical body and go to that other plane that does not hang in the balance of light and dark, yin and yang, and this polarity. While you're in a physical body, there's always going to be polarity. There's always going to be people that don't like you, that don't want to hire you, that don't want to date you, all of that other stuff. Okay. So, psychic ability, your clairaudience, your clairsentience, all those other lovely clairs. Starting to get hot. I always start getting weird with my words when I get hot. Um, Psychic ability, your clairaudience, your clairsentience, all of these things will allow you to tap into the realm of possibility. And since you're in a physical body on a physical planet, that means you might be tapping into your lover's daydreams. Okay. You might be tapping into the cabal's plans. You might be tapping into a ship that's thinking about landing in your backyard. Okay. Your psychic ability allows you to connect to earth possibilities and new earth possibilities. That's why you have one person saying, well, I feel like I'm psychic and I see war coming in a couple weeks, right? While somebody else may be tapping into something else. It doesn't mean that anybody's wrong. Your psychic ability, your clairaudience, your clairvoyance, your clairsentience, all these things will be showing you and I new earth possibilities and earth possibilities, and those things will be happen simultaneously. So don't say to me, well, Tina, I saw the love of my life get down on one knee and propose to me and it never happened. Okay. You can be seeing probabilities if that person acted on the highest version of themselves. And that's the hard part, as I said, for me for the last 6 years, is being able to read thoughts, being psychic, being clairaudient, clairsentient, clairvoyant, all of it, and trying to discern what is an employer or a person or a family member sitting around thinking about the lovely, joyous things they would like to do, and what is them actually making a plan to take action, to be physically involved in the things that would bring them joy. Because man, oh man, is it really, really hard to tell. You and I, we do not leave physical earth to go to another plane unless we're leaving the physical body. We don't leave the physical earth to go to new earth. Okay? Everything is here and now simultaneously. And new earth for you is a spiritual experience, a soulful, joyful, authentic, new earth for you is you being in a physical duality, in a physical body that has duality, on a physical planet that has duality, but still using your higher self to guide you to do what is a wish come true for you. So, new earth is nothing other than everything you've ever wanted and everything that is movement and passion and desire and joy and laughter and good times to you. It reminds me of my early days in the church when so many people said to me, I can't wait. I can't wait for Jesus to come and go to heaven, to the pearly gates so I can experience happiness and freedom, right? And that wasn't the point of it. The point of it was for us to check in with and integrate and move and course correct to take a different course based on what the soul really wants while we're in a physical body. Now, why do you think we keep coming back here over and over and over again to incarnate, right? I loved him, but I couldn't catch up with him, or he fell off the Titanic, or whatever it was, right? And then we make these promises. It's because we learn in a culmination of lifetimes. And now we've shown up like, I know what I want. I know what makes me happy. I know what gives me joy. Okay. And that is heaven on earth. That is new earth. It's not a place that is separate from the place where we currently reside. Now, the thing about higher self and the thing about new earth and new earth experiences, because right now we're just in and out of all these frequency bands, we're in and out of all these different dimensions all the time. Now, what happens when we have these glorious solar flares? The stronger the flare we have, the more we're going to be thrown out into the bliss land of course correction, right? So you can be tapping in, you'll be tapping in to a higher, greater degree when there are solar flares. The stronger the flare, the more you're connected to the higher self, the highest version of you. And the stronger those solar flares, the more you'll connect. The more back to back they are, the more you'll connect. And remember, you're not just connecting to the highest version of yourself, you're connecting to the highest version of the earth self, and also the highest version of your soul self, and also the highest version of the earth itself, and also of the people that you really love and feel connected to. Okay. Um, these solar storms do a lot for our ascension process. You've ever noticed when there's a couple X-class flares back to back, you're like, you know what, I don't know, I'm just going to walk all day, or I'm just going to eat ice cream for 3 meals, or whatever it is. But you'll notice that you're just like, you know what? I have no thoughts. I have no cares other than being, doing, seeing, feeling, whatever is joy and bliss. That's the only thing I'm going to do. Oh, Heidi, I see that you retracted a message and I did not get a chance to see it. This is about balance. This is about taking a new course individually so that the planet takes a new course. And 5D Earth is not separate from you. And the point of ascension is being able to do what brings you joy while in a physical body, not going to the other side and having a life review and saying, well, I screwed this up. I screwed this up. God, I wish I would have done this, or I wish I would have done this, or I wish I would have said words to people, right? We're doing that now so that we don't need to come back and say, God, I've done this 2,000 times, Tina, and you still haven't gotten it right. Still haven't figured it out. Still haven't figured out how to course correct and live in absolute joy. Well, I finally figured it out, and I'm not perfect, and we're not there yet. But it is a wonderful energy to be in. Don't let other people discourage you. I know it can be hard when people call you crazy for making decisions based on joy, not based on money or your bank account or your family's approval or your religious indoctrination or your educational indoctrination or anything else. Yeah, very good point. Yes, exactly. That was the whole point of it. Jesus, Yeshua, whatever name you want to call him, he was saying for us to find joy while in the physical body. And the earth really turned that around, uh, the inversion, when they started talking about sin, right? If you think about sin, and if you've ever, and I've been to, I can't even remember, 7 or 8 different kinds of church and temple as well. And Hindu meditation practice as well. Okay, so there's this big thing that centers around us, you know, not making mistakes, not living in sin, I guess, right? Okay, well, but if I didn't experience, cheating on someone or breaking someone's heart, I wouldn't learn not to do that. I didn't, you know, if I wasn't gluttonous, we all are every once in a while, I wouldn't learn, oh, that really makes me feel sick to my stomach, or that's really not a good idea. So this idea that we're born into sin, this idea that, oh, we got to repent for all these things we've done. If you sat up in the mountains, I say this all the time, and spent your whole life meditating, and you never had your heart broken or broke someone's heart or ate shitty food, or drank alcohol or tried drugs or do any of these things, you would never learn anything. You learn through making physical decisions. And then when you decide you don't like that, or that wasn't good, or that wasn't fun, that's when you're supposed to jump in and course correct. So the idea that we're born here as sinners and to do XYZ is a whole list of sins couldn't be further from the truth, because there is no evolution without making a mistake. There is no evolution, personal evolution, without making a mistake. Where would we be? We wouldn't be anywhere. This is officially my longest video ever. Thank you for the 200 plus people that wished me a happy birthday. Thank you for the 500 plus people that wished me condolences and prayers and sent love on the passing of my mom. I love you all, and I hope this was as easy to understand that I intended. Until next time, bye.